into the chaos. Meta Knight is a character from the Kirby series who has been in there since almost the very beginning. He is a masked swordsman who is somewhat of an anti-hero slash rival to Kirby. There are games where you have to fight him, but in other games he'll show up as an ally. He's a mysterious character that even to this day we don't know everything about him. Like, we don't know what all of his motivations are and everything he wants to accomplish. We don't know if he's related to Kirby or not, and we also don't know the true extent of his powers. But we do know that he has all the typical traits of a great knight. He's a very skilled swordsman, he's very honorable, he's very noble, he's very helpful, he's a great ally, a great leader. Like, he has all these great qualities, and yet he still brings this sort of dark presence to him. Yeah, he's obviously like a serious warrior, but he's just got something more more ominous going on, something more dark inside of him. It seems that way. Even though he's all about destroying evil, he himself just seems to have that sort of evil in him somehow, you know? Something that we just don't know about that he has, that just still mysterious. But anyways, he got super strength, super speed, super durability, you know, the usual. He's got the usual that all characters have. But Meta Knight takes it up to a stronger degree than most characters, especially when it comes to speed. He's also shown to be pretty intelligent. At least in the Kirby TV show, he's extremely intelligent. That's what he's shown to be, a character who likes to study and formulate plans rather than just going in guns blazing, just like attacking like wildly. You know, he plans his attacks. Also in the Kirby TV show, it shows that he is a pretty old character. Like, I think he's been around for at least a few hundred years, if not a few thousand. And also in the Kirby TV show, he's shown to be like a mentor to Kirby, and it's like the reason why he fights him, to like train him, not to ever like actually defeat him, but to like make sure that Kirby will like grow into a great warrior, which also gets you wondering more of how they're related. Like, why is Meta Knight trying to train Kirby so much? Obviously he looks like Kirby under the mask, but like, is he like secretly like his father or something? Or is he just like a relative? Or maybe he's just of the same species? Or maybe he's of a related species, since Meta Knight has wings and Kirby doesn't have wings. Maybe Kirby will go into them, but that's a topic for some other time. I think they mentioned that Meta Knight used to be the Star Warrior, which is also something that seems to be passed on to Kirby now, and again, more of how they're related in some ways. But if I'm not mistaken, Meta Knight used to be the Star Warrior. I think he states that in the episode where Knuckle Joe shows up. Anyways, that's basically Meta Knight's whole story, honestly. Like I said, he's been around for at least a few hundred years, and he's been like fighting Nightmare's forces that entire time, or most of the time. Anyways, on to his abilities. Meta Knight, like I said already, speed, strength, durability, the usual. Yeah, he's got those. But he's also got plenty of sword skills and like superpowers. He can do a lot of different sword techniques, and a lot of those sword techniques actually make him invulnerable. You could argue it's a gameplay mechanic, but not every attack in the game makes the Kirby characters invulnerable. It's just specific moves. And Meta Knight just has like a lot of those moves that make him invulnerable. So his sword must have some sort of power that can like heighten his durability. I wouldn't say he's completely invulnerable, because you can't ever see the true scale of like what it can block attacks from, if we're being fair. But the Kirby series has some pretty strong, insane bosses, and that he's invulnerable from all those attacks. Kirby bosses, as we all know, can get to like freaking planet-destroying levels, so even without making himself invulnerable to those attacks, he can obviously take those attacks. Again, gameplay-wise says that every character has to be able to take these attacks, but Meta Knight's one of like the main characters. Like, story-wise, Meta Knight's supposed to be in there fighting these bosses, fighting these strong opponents and supposed to be living through these battles. So Meta Knight's got some pretty crazy durability right there. His powers mainly seem to come from his sword, Galaxia, but they also could be coming from him. You know, it could be like a bonding between of him and his sword. You know, a lot of sword wielding characters make a strong point about the blade being an extension of their body. So, in order to use the powers of their swords, they mainly have to create it from within inside themselves, and also like with the blade, like in unison, you know. And Meta even basically says that in the Kirby TV show when he's training Kirby of how to actually use the sword. Even though, you know, in the games Kirby can learn how to use the sword just by copying it, you know. He didn't. That's exactly how he ended up doing it in the show, actually. So, but yeah, Meta was teaching him how to use it, and he was basically he described of how to use the energy wave, and basically was saying exactly what I just described. In unison with the sword, manifest energy through your body, out through the blade. So yeah, the powers come from like both of them. Galaxia is a really strong sword that is able to create plasma electricity around it. It doesn't have to create the plasma while it's in use. Meta has strung it before without creating like intense flames or electricity. But there are instances where it does have that around it and can like maintain that for long periods of time. Like when Kirby used it in the Amazing Mirror, I'm pretty sure it is always encased in plasma. And then in the TV show, the plasma actually created the sword itself from the hilt. Like when Meta Knight drew the handle of the blade then came into existence from electricity emanating from the hilt. I think the blade can be broken, but if it's created from like plasma, then you know it can always just like rebuild itself. But it doesn't break easily, and I don't guarantee it can be broken, but I just feel like I've seen an instance where it's broken. I just don't remember where. Anyways, like I said, he can basically make himself invincible with different sword techniques that he has. But he can also shoot sword waves from the blade at full health. In the TV show, it's implied he can do this whenever, but there's basically other attacks he can use to shoot sword waves out. And then during the boss battles, he can always shoot sword waves out. So like he doesn't actually have to be at full health. That one is basically just a game mechanic. But yeah, he can shoot sword waves out, and these are pretty intense sword waves. In the TV show, when he used this sword wave, he basically created a huge slash through the earth and created an earthquake while he did it. And he has created earthquakes in boss battles too. He also has created tornadoes, and obviously he also has the Mach Tornado, which is an attack where he encases himself in a twister and just basically shreds through everything on the field. It's one of his super attacks in Meta Nightmare mode of Kirby Superstars Ultra. But he can do like a extremely downgraded version, like in Smash Bros. He does, and then in Kirby Star Allies he also does like an extremely downgraded version where he's basically just doing a regular spin around with his sword. It's strong and intense, but it's nothing like in his side mode of Kirby Star Ultra. Also in that game, he can fully heal himself. He can summon a member from his crew whenever he wants, and he also can increase his speed. Probably up to 3 times, 2 times, probably. Okay, so from this data here, it looks to me like Meta Knight is actually only increasing his speed by about 50%. He can clone himself up to 3 times. He can also use telekinesis to lift up large objects, like he used it to lift up boulders, and that might actually be the only thing he used to lift up, so he might have just geokinesis, but I guess we don't know for sure. And another attack he has is Galaxy Darkness, which originated in Smash Brothers and then made its way into the Kirby Robobot game, which I kind of just recently found out. It's basically an attack where he like sends everything into darkness, or like a large area into darkness, and then strikes clean through the darkness itself and anyone in the path of the slash. And then he can teleport, and then obviously fly, but he has wings, so that's kind of obvious. He teleports using dimensional cape, which is, you might think it's a power coming from his cape, but his cape is his wings, which is a part of him, so it's actually just his power. He does actually have a cape that he walks around in, but his wings also turn into a cape. So, yeah. So that's basically Meta Knight's abilities. And here are some abilities that I don't know are like actual abilities at all. In the Kirby TV show, his eyes glow a different color. Depending on the situation, it mostly seems to be him just expressing his personality with his eyes. But there are other instances in the TV show, like small, like very minute instances, but there are times where he seems to know when something is going on that doesn't really seem to like happen yet, but he like knows it's gonna happen. So yeah, he might have a little bit of like future prediction, sixth sense type of ability. Very minor use of it if he does have it, because he only does it during calm moments, or he's like not in any stress or any action or anything. He just kind of chilling there, and then he gets these like instances of knowing when something's gonna happen. They're very like mysterious and like hard to determine like what's going on, because like he's obviously a mysterious character, so he might have like inside knowledge a different way. He might have his team be able to give him like disclosed information on a situation. It also might be from his experience. He's been around so long in the TV show. He might just be familiar with patterns that have happened when Nightmare was up to something. If he does have this power, he could see a whole lot of the future, but just isn't telling much of it, because since he knows how it's going to turn out, he knows it's going to go out for the better. So he knows he doesn't have to really interfere, or he just doesn't have like a strong sense of this future prediction. So like he's getting like minor details in his head, like glimpses or something, and that's the reason that he's only able to give so little information about it, like talking like riddles almost, basically. When he sees Kirby, he does get like information about like knowing this is Kirby, but again, that might just be his like mysterious connection with Kirby, instead of just like actually like being able to sense energy. It could be both, actually. It could be both. The other times when he has information, it could be he gets these like feelings that something is going on, and then with prior knowledge of what's happened before, when he has these senses, he can infer what it means when he's feeling this way. For instance, if he gets like a feeling of danger, and then at first he doesn't know what that is, but then in the past he fought Nightmare after sensing this danger, and then later on in his life he gets the same feeling of danger, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember what that feeling meant. That means Nightmare's close by. It could be something like that. Like it's never explained, and it's never really like shown too much to even like really honestly consider it. Like I said, it's only been shown in the Kirby TV show. In the games, he hasn't really had much sixth sense ability other than just enhanced like awareness of what's going on in general, like a normal soldier would have, and it wouldn't like help him in any battles. Like I said, this only ever happened in instances where he is not currently engaged with anything. He's just kind of like relaxing. So for his strength, he's able to smash through boulders. If you assume they're accurately proportioned to the Kirby characters, so the boulders are probably only like about a few feet tall, you can smash through like 2 tons of rock. It's pretty strong, but it's nothing too crazy on the normal when it comes to strength. Durability on the normal, I don't really like scaling that much, but like durability, like they get attacked from other characters, you gotta know what the other characters can do to measure their durability. That's kind of what you gotta do there. When Uncle Joe is a common enemy, and he's shown to be able to make giant craters in the earth, like a few kilotons of TNT. So yeah, he's pretty durable. Like, he's way above Knuckle Joe. For what it's worth, he's technically the only character who fights Kirby and doesn't ever actually lose. He always retreats. Um, after you beat Meta Knight, you break his mask off and then he just retreats. He never actually like defeated or dies or anything like that. Like all the other bosses, they can just be destroyed and like vanish or whatever, or like just like knocked unconscious. I mean, King Dedede obviously doesn't die or anything, but like King Dedede's like not in fighting condition after fighting Kirby, but Meta Knight is. Like, it's even shown in the boss battle with him when you beat him, and then the ship gets destroyed, and he's just chasing after you after the battle's over. He's not actually defeated. And then Speed. Speed is Meta Knight's like strongest thing he's got. It's his ace up his sleeve. It's what he's known for. But how fast exactly? Well, running on his feet, he doesn't seem to be pretty fast. The Kirby characters don't seem to be running really fast through their stages. But there is a samurai minigame where he's like the final boss of hard mode, and all you gotta do is tap A really fast and strike before he does. But Meta Knight strikes at like 0.06 seconds, and the distance between the characters is like 2 feet or something, and they're on the floor. So Meta Knight can travel probably around 40 feet per second on foot, which is like 30 miles per hour. So he's slightly faster than an average human, which is actually impressive because he's like 16 inches tall. So like he's like 5 times smaller than an average person, but he can go faster. But his real speed comes from when he takes off and flies. In his side game, Meta Nightmare Ultra, he flies out of Popstar's atmosphere all the way to another planet within 11 seconds. If you assume like these planets are like the same distance from each other that like Earth and Mars is, this means Meta Knight would be traveling 9 times faster than light. And yeah, the planets could be closer to each other, but at the same time, Meta Knight also makes an arc, so he didn't fly straight to the planet. He basically took the long way to get there. So I'm gonna like cancel those two things out, that the planet could be closer, but Meta Knight also could have flew a shorter distance, and just say he's flying 9 times faster than light. And at the end of the game, he flies back to Popstar. He flies like past all these planets to the I think they say center of the galaxy actually, but like if it's just like past all these planets. And then Meta Knight flies back basically in like a blur. Like they don't show him like passing any planets, but they show like a big blur of him flying past just space in general and then flying back to Popstar. So you could say that he's flying past every planet he just flew to. So he's going even faster than 9 times faster than light, because that cutscene, I'm pretty sure it takes less than 11 seconds. So yeah, he's definitely flying way faster. He's flying like more distance in less time. So he's probably way faster than 9 times the speed of light. But like I like to take the bare minimum. There also could be an argument that maybe he was using his speed increase ability during the flight to another planet, but it doesn't really show that he's using it. I mean, like, he still could be. So if he did fly to this planet without using his speed increase, then with it, he would be able to fly 13.5 times faster than the speed of light. But I always go with the lowest possible calculation. So I'm going to assume he did use his speed increase in this moment here. So he can fly 6 times faster than the speed of light. The question is, can he fight that fast? When you're in space, there's a lot of space in between everything. So when he's going to a planet, he has like I said, he took 9 seconds. He took 11 seconds to get to that planet. So he had 11 seconds to react to slowing down and like landing in the right spot. Would he be able to react if there's a wall a foot ahead of him and then he like dashed at the speed of light to the wall? Would he be able to react then? Yeah, he would, because when you fight the Meta Knight's ship, it shoots lasers at you, and you're obviously able to react to these lasers and dodge them. And you actually have a lot of time to react. So it's like these lasers, they're like nothing to Meta Knight and like Kirby too. Kirby fights the same thing, but we're talking about Meta Knight right now. You know, these lasers, they go slowly at you. Like Meta Knight's just looking at them, and like someone just tossed you a ball to catch, and Meta Knight's just like so easy for Meta Knight to dodge or counter or whatever he wants to do with it. You know. So yeah, he can react to light speeds, like really close up. He can fight at that level 9 times faster than light. Maybe not, but he can definitely react to light speeds. With his Meta Quick ability, he's able to fight twice the speed of light. At the very least, because, you know, Meta Knight can go faster, we don't know. Because it's really hard to, like, find something that actually goes faster than light to, like, compare to, right? So, like, you have lasers, and then, like, how is he gonna know that something's going at the speed of light? For strength, maximum strength, I don't know. Honestly, we don't ever see him lift up anything or just like punch anything with his fist, but he does use a lot of power with his sword, and the max strength or power output he can do with that while striking or you know, using his powers, 1,800 tons of TNT. His Mach tornadoes should equate to like other real tornadoes. And I remember Rouge the Bat video. She also does tornadoes, tornado kick. And I calculated that to be 1,800 tons of TNT. I found another source to say that a tornado would give off 65 tons of TNT. That's, I think, like 1 billion joules. That's a pretty large difference in a scale. So I'm thinking that the one I found previously was of a hurricane. But either way, I would go with the higher calculation. In this instance, for once, I would actually go with the higher calculation, because this is the lowest possible outcome of Meta Knight's strength. If we're being real here, Meta Knight, like I said, has survived hits from Knuckle Joe, who has kilotons of TNT power behind his punches. Kirby, 400 megatons of TNT behind his power, behind his punches, when he has Knuckle Joe's ability. And then Kirby's just way stronger than that anyways. Like, Kirby is so much stronger than that. Kirby smacked the meteor light years away in a few seconds. Like I said, I don't really like scaling, but Meta Knight is obviously on par with Kirby. With all the facts going into this, that Meta Knight is most likely a species related to Kirby. Meta Knight is a Star Warrior before Kirby. Meta Knight fights Kirby. Meta Knight trains Kirby. Meta Knight never actually really loses to Kirby. He mostly just like lets him win. So, you know, Kirby slapping a meteor hundreds of light years away. No. Actually, it's like 9,000 light years away. So Meta Knight should very realistically be able to, you know, do at least 0.1% of that and slap it a light year away. Heck, 0.01%. Meta Knight also fights Galactonite, who was literally stated to being able to destroy a planet or two, like casually. The freaking machine that brings Galactonite to fight him in Planet Robobot literally just randomly just drops. Yeah, planet might just be destroyed or two, but you know, this battle's kind of more important to see what's gonna go down. So Meta Knight beats Galactonite. He beats him twice. I know power directly doesn't need to clash in a fight in order to win. Like, you don't have to be as strong as the other person in order to beat him in a fight. But they kind of make an emphasis on this just by dropping the whole being able to destroy a planet. Like, you wouldn't say that if you're not trying to see if Meta Knight has the same power. You just wouldn't say that. In the Kirby TV show, Meta Knight basically teaches Kirby how to use the Mega Sword before he can even use the Mega Sword in the main series games. Like, Kirby, it's like the 3rd episode where Kirby uses Meta Knight's training to increase the size of his sword to destroy a boss in one hit. Where have we seen that? Kirby Returns to Dreamland. When he has the Mega Sword, it can destroy bosses in one hit. And he makes a giant sword. And that sword can be used to break through Megalor's defenses while he's like a super being able to like manipulate reality and destroy whole dimensions. Like, and you can't hurt him any other way. Like, his shield is so strong that all these normal attacks that can destroy planets can't really hurt him. So now we got a Mega Sword that's able to do that, and that Mega Sword not only was trained because of Meta Knight's teachings, but in the sword swing, Kirby actually uses Galaxia for one of the swings. So basically, what I'm trying to say is Meta Knight might potentially have the same power as Kirby, able to hit stars light years away, and I'm just giving him freaking not even continent destroying stuff. And like I said, fighting all these other creatures that can destroy planets, like these Meta Knight should bare minimum have planet destroying power. Like I said, we don't know the full extent of his power, but saying 1,800 tons of TNT, I feel like we can give him that much. Actually, we can increase his power output by just a little bit. He uses 2 tornadoes in this animation, so we can double it to 3,600 tons of TNT. And then we can increase that even further because he's using Mach Tornado, so the winds are going to be going way faster than what they are here on Earth. So we'll just double it again to get his final power output to 7,200 tons of TNT. You could argue it's just gameplay mechanics why they can fight these strong destroying beasts, but Meta Knight being tied directly to Kirby, and for the fact that he can travel like at the speed of light, meaning that if he knows that, he should be able to create 1 gigaton of TNT if he strikes with that speed. But we're gonna go with the bare minimum. Far cry from what he's obviously really capable of. But sticking with the basics of non-scaling. Alright, I think that wraps it up for the analysis. Like I said, Meta Knight's one of my favorite characters, and this was pretty fun to do. We'll see what happens during my next analysis.